Space. For all its silent majesty, it is a realm of profound, unchanging peace. The gentle curve of Earth hangs against a tapestry of distant, diamond-hard stars. But tonight, that peace is a fragile memory. One by one, then in a cascade of impossible light, the stars begin to bleed. 42 points of celestial calm warp, shimmer, and then tear open. They bloom like monstrous, stellar flowers, birthing ships from the void between realities. They are a fleet of nightmares and wonders. Some are organic, hulking leviathans of living metal and pulsating flesh. Their hulls like chitinous beetle shells the size of mountains. Others are pure geometry, crystalline structures that bend light into maddening angles, humming with a power that feels like a theorem given form. And then there are the chaotic ones, ships that are not ships at all, but contain dimensional rifts, portals into swirling madness, their very presence a violation of physical law. They arrange themselves in a perfect sphere around the planet. They do not approach. They wait, they watch. And then they speak. A psychic broadcast, a chorus of 42 alien voices, each in its own ancient language, slams into the collective consciousness of Earth, simultaneously translated by sheer force of will into raw, undeniable meaning. Child of the singularity, we have felt your birth cry across 50 galaxies. We have come to witness, to judge, to claim, to destroy, to learn. Your world now holds the attention of powers beyond your comprehension. You have 48 hours to present yourself. At Camp Dawn, the message hits like a psychic hammer. It isn't just a sound in their minds. It's a sensory assault. For a moment, the air smells of ozone and burnt sugar. The taste of copper fills their mouths, and a phantom pressure crushes their skulls. Every person in the camp clutches their head, gasping. A young engineer collapses, nose bleeding. A grizzled ex-soldier stares into the middle distance, his eyes wide with a terror he never knew in any conventional war. Maya stumbles out of her command tent, her hand pressed to her temple, looking up at a sky that is no longer their own. The alien vessels are now visibly dotted across the heavens, impossible silhouettes against the stars. Some so large they eclipse the moon's apparent size, casting moving shadows across the clouds. Maya whispers, her voice raspy to no one and to everyone. 48 hours. He has 48 hours. Lorenzo comes sprinting from the science wing, his tablet clutched in a white-knuckled grip, his face pale. Maya, you need to see this. The broadcast wasn't just a message, it was a scan. A passive ping. My long-range sensors are picking up. I can't even classify them. The energy signatures, each one is brighter than the Crusader champion. Brighter than all three fleets combined. They're not armies. They're individuals. Each one is a walking apocalypse. Deep inside the mountain, within his personal realm, Kai sits in serene contemplation. The psychic shockwave washed over him not as an attack, but as a discordant note in a symphony he was composing. Around him, the holographic weapon forges spin in silence, generating thousands of theoretical combat formations per second, preparing for wars that might never be. His nascent soul, a perfect, miniature version of himself, floats before him, its ethereal eyes locked on the star chart, where 42 hostile sigils now converge upon his home. 42 landlords. Each one has lived longer than human civilization. They do not know that the tenant they seek has spent 70 days shattering his own soul. They do not know that a broken thing, reforged, is sharper than any blade that never bent. That shattering my own existence taught me how to unmake others. They see themselves as gods, as forces of nature. I see them as locks, and I have become the key. The domain steward, a silent, holographic figure, materializes beside him. Its voice is calm, devoid of the panic gripping the world outside. Master, the 48-hour ultimatum is a formality. A piece of cosmic theater. 7 of the 42 signatures are already beginning independent descent trajectories. They are impatient. Their power levels range from the 3rd to 7th, minor step of the divine vein realm. They hold the light of a billion compressed stars, the cold fire of a forged singularity. A faint smile touches his lips. Impatient gods are careless gods. Then we don't keep them waiting. Prepare the realm for autonomous defense. Isolate Camp Dawn from any collateral energy signatures. They are to be spectators, nothing more. I'm going hunting. This is Ascension, Year 0, Episode 9. In the first hour of the ultimatum, Camp Dawn is a hive of organized chaos. Maya has implemented full defensive protocols, a gesture everyone knows is as futile as holding up a wooden shield against a tsunami. But it gives them purpose. Families huddle in the reinforced community shelter, a repurposed underground parking garage. Above ground, observation posts are manned by volunteers who know they're probably watching their own deaths approach, but refuse to die cowering in the dark. Finn, a young scout with eyes too old for his years, presses his face to the scope at Observation Post Delta. His voice is tight, a strained whisper over the comms. "Command, I have visual on the first descent. It's beautiful." Through the powerful lens, a streak of impossible, vibrant emerald fire descends from the largest of the alien vessels, a dreadnought carved from a single, massive emerald that glitters with malevolent light. It falls with an unnerving grace, landing softly 10 miles from Camp Dawn, on the glassed plains where Kai obliterated the plasma swarm. The impact is silent, but it sends up a mushroom cloud of shimmering emerald dust that catches the sunlight like a shattered jewel. When the dust clears, a figure stands in the shallow crater. It is humanoid, 12 feet tall, its body composed of interlocking emerald crystals that pulse with a cold internal light. It wears no armor, its body is the armor. It carries no weapon, its hands can reshape matter with a thought. It looks around, its crystalline head tilting, scanning the horizon with an air of utter disdain. Its voice carries on magical frequencies, bypassing the air, vibrating directly in their bones. Primitive world. Scarred by minor emergence, the singularity source is near. I sense its residual warmth. "Come forth, little god, let us discuss your future." In Camp Dawn, the voice causes fresh panic. Several people cover their ears, weeping, the psychic resonance too much to bear. Maya watches on the command center monitors, her face a mask of cold, analytical focus. "It's not attacking us," she says, her voice cutting through the fear. "We're beneath its notice. We're ants on the floor of its coliseum. It's here for him. For the sovereign." Lorenzo looks up from his console, his expression a mixture of terror and awe. "Should we do something? Signal it? Make contact?" Maya shakes her head, her gaze fixed on the screen. "No, we do nothing. We are witnesses, nothing more. We watch and we learn how to survive in this new universe." Miles away, the cliff face of the Sovereign's mountain silently parts. Kai emerges, but this time he doesn't walk. He floats, his feet hovering inches above the ground, his simple light suit now transformed into full battle regalia of shimmering obsidian plates that shift and flow like liquid shadow. Behind him, the mountain seals without a sound. He moves across the landscape at a deceptive, gliding speed, crossing the 10-mile distance in mere seconds. He lands 50 meters from the Emerald Lord. The two beings regard each other across the blasted plain. The difference in scale is absurd. Kai is utterly dwarfed by the crystalline giant. But the energy radiating from Kai is different. It's not a brilliant, expansive aura. It's denser, more concentrated, a singularity compressed into human form, a black hole dressed in a man's skin. The Emerald Lord lets out a sound that is almost a chuckle, a grating of crystal on crystal. "So small, so young." Your birth cry echoed across galaxies, and this is what emerges. A primate who learned to glow? I am disappointed. Kai's expression is unreadable. "You came all this way to insult me? Or was there a point to your descent? Some of us have busy schedules." The point, little primate, is that your world now sits at a crossroads. 50 galaxies have taken interest. You cannot defend against what is coming, but you can choose a patron. My hive, the crystalline harmony, offers protection. In exchange, you will serve as our anchor in this sector, a living conduit for our influence, a reasonable arrangement. And if I refuse? Kai's voice is still calm, but it has an edge that wasn't there before. The Emerald Lord laughs, a sound like 1,000 gems shattering at once. Then I demonstrate why refusal is unwise. You are, what, perhaps at the soul transformation realm? Impressive for a native of this primitive world. But I am of the divine vein. The gap between us is the gap between a candle and a sun. At Camp Dawn, the entire population watches through every available device. The audio is picked up by directional microphones, broadcast through the camp's speakers. Every word is heard, every nuance felt. Finn's voice is a breathy awe. He's negotiating with it. The Sovereign is talking. Next to him, Grace, a hardened veteran of the Crusader War, shakes her head slowly. That's not negotiation. That's him letting it talk itself into a grave. Back on the plains, Kai tilts his head, a small, cold smile finally playing at his lips. You're right. There is a gap. But you've misidentified which side of it you stand on. Arrogance, the Emerald Lord booms. Let me show you. The Lord raises a hand, and emerald energy gathers into a sphere of pure annihilation, a miniature sun of green destruction. But before it can release it, Kai moves. Not with speed, with presence. His sovereignty principle activates. The space around the Emerald Lord suddenly becomes heavy, oppressive. The very laws of physics become suggestions, and Kai is the one suggesting them. You are in my territory, Kai states, his voice now layered with an echo of immense power. On my planet, under my sky. Your power means nothing here. What follows is not a brawl, it is a demonstration. The Emerald Lord, furious and confused by the sudden change in reality, fires its annihilation sphere. The blast screams across the distance, powerful enough to vaporize a city. Kai doesn't dodge. He doesn't raise a shield. He opens his mouth and breathes in. The sphere, a cataclysm of energy, is drawn into his core like a stream of smoke. It is absorbed, analyzed by the evolutionary lattice, and completely, utterly neutralized. There is no explosion, no impact. Just consumption. The Emerald Lord staggers back, its crystalline form flickering. Impossible. That was a divine vein technique. No being of a lower realm could simply eat it. And I am a being who shattered his own soul 9 times. Kai replies, his voice utterly devoid of emotion. Your techniques are educational. Thank you for the data. He extends a single finger. From the tip, a thread of absolute darkness, a miniature event horizon spins out. It's not an attack, it's an invitation. The thread, thinner than a spider's silk, touches the Emerald Lord's chest. Instantly, the Lord feels a terrifying pull. Its own ancient divine energy is being drained, siphoned away, pulled into the microscopic singularity with irresistible force. Panic finally enters its voice, shattering its divine composure. Stop, this is you can't. I am of the divine vein. I am eternal. And I am of the extreme core, Kai says, his voice a final judgment. Let me show you the difference. On Kai's shoulder, his nascent soul, which had been observing with placid curiosity, opens its eyes and makes a tiny, almost lazy fist-clenching gesture. The event horizon thread pulls. The Emerald Lord, all 12 feet and several tons of crystalline divinity, is dragged forward, stumbling. Its form begins to destabilize, glowing cracks spreading like lightning across its emerald surface as its power is unmade. Mercy! It shrieks, the sound now thin and desperate. I will withdraw, I will tell the others. Tell them what? Kai interrupts, his voice dripping with cosmic irony. That you were defeated by a candle? Kai's other hand rises. In it, a blade of pure, condensed creation manifests, a weapon that shouldn't exist, forged from the very principle of making things real. It glows with the light of a new dawn. He swings once. The motion is clean, simple, and final. The Emerald Lord's head separates from its body, but it doesn't fall. The body dissolves into a cloud of inert, glittering crystal dust that drifts away on the wind. The head, its eyes wide with an agony beyond death, floats in the air, held fast by Kai's will. Kai looks into its dying eyes. You wanted to demonstrate. I've demonstrated. Absolute silence. Then a wave of hysterical cheering, quickly stifled by Maya's orders. Maya's voice comes over the comms. Quiet, all of you. This isn't a victory, it's the first round of a war we can't comprehend. But watch. Learn. Remember this moment. As Finn whispers to Grace, he decapitated a god. And kept the head alive to talk. Grace answers Finn, he's not just fighting them, he's sending a message, a warning. 6 hours have passed since the first god fell. For 48 hours, humanity has held its breath, staring at the sky. But now, the real storm begins. From the orbiting armada, 6 more streaks of light descend. 6 new descents. 6 new gods, each a different color, a different energy, a different flavor of annihilation. They land in a wide arc around Kai, surrounding him. The gauntlet of divinity has begun. First, the Pyre Lord, a being of living magma, a walking volcano radiating heat so intense it melts stone from 1,000 meters away. Then, the Shadow Weaver, a formless entity of living darkness, writhing and shifting, its mass filled with eyes like dying stars. Next, the Iron Mind, a mechanical god of impossible complexity, floating geometric shapes that hum with raw psychic power. The Blood Prophet, a gaunt, pale humanoid in crimson robes, carrying a staff topped with a weeping, organic eye. The Storm Child, a being of pure, compressed hurricane, lightning crackling through its translucent form. And finally, the Crystal Matriarch, a towering female figure of rose quartz, her voice like breaking glass. "Release my progeny," she commands, her gaze fixed on the head of the Emerald Lord still floating by Kai's side. His defeat was noted. "But your insolence ends now." Kai doesn't flinch. He is still holding the head, a grim trophy and a stark warning. "Your progeny threatened my world and offered me slavery." He replies, his voice calm and steady. "I offered him mercy, a quick death, and a message to carry. Be grateful, I'm feeling generous." The Pyre Lord rumbles, its voice a cascade of superheated rock. "You speak of generosity while holding a head? This world will burn for your arrogance." The Shadow Weaver whispers, its voice a thousand sibilant echoes. "Enough talk. The source is here. Let us consume it and be done." Back at Camp Dawn, the temperature has soared by 10 degrees. People are stripping off layers, fanning themselves, the Pyre Lord's mere presence scorching the air. Maya has ordered everyone into the underground shelter, but she remains above with the skeleton crew, refusing to look away. Lorenzo's hands tremble as he reads the sensors. "Maya, the energy readings. Each of those 6 is outputting power equivalent to our entire planet's pre-emergence energy consumption per second, and they're all focused on him." Maya just stares at the screen. And he's still standing there, holding a conversation, holding a head. In the observation post, Finn's voice is filled with awe. He's not scared. Look at his face, he's studying them, like a scientist examining specimens. The battle begins. The Pyre Lord strikes first, unleashing a torrent of stellar plasma, fire hot enough to vaporize continents. Kai doesn't dodge. He doesn't even move. He simply raises a single hand. The principle of order activates. The plasma doesn't hit him. It flows around him in perfect geometric curves, a river of fire diverted by localized reality editing. "Fire," Kai says, his voice cutting through the roar. "Impressive. But fire requires fuel, oxygen, and a target. I'm none of those things." As he speaks, his cosmic creator of formations trait manifests a containment array around the Pyre Lord. A sphere of absolute cold, generated from the principle of entropy itself, snaps into existence. The Pyre Lord roars as its flames are extinguished, its magma body cracking and solidifying from the thermal shock. While Kai deals with the Pyre Lord, the Shadow Weaver strikes from below. Tendrils of living darkness erupt from the ground, wrapping around him. This isn't a physical attack. It's spiritual, designed to consume the soul itself. "Your light is bright," the Shadow Weaver hisses. "Let me taste it." Kai remains unmoved. "My light has been through 9 shatterings. It's not for tasting." His nascent soul, still perched on his shoulder, begins to glow with a brilliant, pure light. The evolutionary lattice has already analyzed the Shadow Weaver's frequency. Kai emits a pulse of purified cosmic light, not physical light, but the light of absolute existence. The shadow tendrils scream and retreat, burned by something they cannot touch, let alone consume. Next comes the Iron Mind. It launches a psychic assault, flooding Kai's consciousness with 1 billion years of simulated warfare data. A tidal wave of information meant to shatter his mortal mind with the weight of impossible experience. "Your brain is organic, fragile," the construct transmits. "Let me show you what true intelligence endures." For the first time, Kai smiles. "You think data is power? I've spent 70 days learning to shatter my own soul. Your experience is quaint." His omniversal understanding activates fully. In less than a microsecond, it deconstructs the Iron Mind's entire psychic attack, maps its architecture, and sends back a countervirus, a simple, devastating concept of self-doubt, programmed in the Iron Mind's own language. The mechanical entity's floating shapes stutter, flicker, and several fall from the sky, their psychic hum silenced. Seeing their allies falter, the remaining 3 attack as one. The Blood Prophet, the Storm Child, and the Crystal Matriarch unleash their full power simultaneously. Prophetic blood magic that twists fate. Cataclysmic lightning that rips the air apart. And crystalline spears that can pierce through dimensions. The ground around Kai becomes a war zone of clashing world-ending energies. The sensors at Camp Dawn flatline. The sky itself seems to crack under the strain. 6 divine vein experts, each one capable of ending worlds. And I am holding them. Not defeating yet, but holding. My foundation was built from a universe. My core was shattered 9 times. Let them exhaust themselves against the infinite. Then, the turning point. Kai stops defending. He attacks. He lets go of the Emerald Lord's head, which disintegrates into motes of light. He claps his hands together once. The sound is not loud, but it's absolute. From that single clap, a shockwave of sovereign authority erupts, a wave that carries one simple declaration: in this space my rules apply. The effect is instantaneous and total. The Pyre Lord's remaining flames extinguish completely, its form stabilizing into cold, dead rock. The Shadow Weaver is pinned to the ground by invisible stakes of pure will, unable to shift or fade. The Iron Mind's remaining geometries crash to the earth, inert. The Blood Prophet's staff shatters into dust. The Storm Child is compressed into a harmless, drifting cloud. And the Crystal Matriarch is frozen mid-attack, a statue of rose quartz unable to move a single facet. Silence falls. Kai walks among the defeated gods, his expression calm, his pace unhurried. You came to my world, he says, his voice carrying across the desolate landscape. You threatened my people. You offered me slavery, consumption, and death. I have shown you mercy by not erasing you from existence. Now you will carry a message. With a simple gesture, he gathers the 6 defeated, powerless entities. Bound by his will, they are little more than motes of energy. He hurls them into the sky. They rocket upward, smashing back into their respective motherships, with enough force to visibly shake the colossal vessels against the dark backdrop of space. Back at Camp Dawn, the underground shelter erupts in cheers that can't be contained. This time Maya doesn't try to stop them. She stares at the monitors, which are slowly coming back online, and tears stream down her face. 6, she whispers, her voice breaking with emotion. He defeated 6. In less than an hour. Lorenzo stares, his previous terror replaced by utter disbelief. He didn't just defeat them. He humiliated them, sent them back broken. That's a declaration. Finn looks from the screens to the sky. To who? The other 35? Grace, who had been silent until now, answers with chilling clarity. To everyone. To every god and every ship up there. He just told them, I am not prey. I am the predator. In the cold vacuum of space, aboard the flagship of the Crystal Vein, the matriarch was a broken figure. Her once luminous form flickered, her energy barely sustained. They dragged her before a virtual council, a terrifying assembly of the remaining 35 divine vein experts. Holograms shimmered next to psychic projections and the few who were physically present. All connected across the surviving fleet, their collective power a suffocating weight. The matriarch's voice, when she found it, was a dry crackle, a whisper of her former authority. He is not what we expected. His cultivation base appears to be nascent soul, but his power defies all classification. He fought 6 of us simultaneously. 6 of us, and he held back. You must understand, he held back. He could have killed us all. From the largest projection, a fearsome dreadnought carved from neutronium, a voice boomed, deep and resonant with impatience. Explain. He spoke of 9 shatterings, the matriarch stammered, her consciousness wavering. He carries a nascent soul that acts as if it has its own will, its own mind. His energy, it's denser, more potent than any divine vein I have ever encountered. I believe he has achieved the extreme core realm, the Forbidden's path. He shattered his core 9 times and rebuilt it each time. An absolute silence fell over the council. The very concept was blasphemy, a ghost story told to frighten children. Then, another voice, ancient and cold as the void itself, cut through the stillness. The extreme core, it's a myth, a suicide path. None have survived it in recorded history. It is impossible. He survived, the matriarch insisted, a desperate fire in her eyes. And he is here. And he is protecting this world with a ferocity I have not witnessed in 10,000 years of existence. We must reconsider our approach. This is not a resource to be harvested. This is a force of nature. The deep voice from the dreadnought scoffed. Reconsider? We are 35 divine vein, he is 1. Numbers have meaning, matriarch. Numbers mean nothing, she whispered, her form dimming, to a being who has touched infinity and returned. He is not just a cultivator, he is a phenomenon. Back inside the realm, Kai had returned. He sat in meditation, but his eyes were open, fixed on the star chart projected before him. 35 hostile signatures still hung in orbit like vultures. His breathing was controlled, but heavy. The battle had taken a toll, more than he would ever admit. Master! The domain steward's synthesized voice echoed in the cavernous space. Your performance exceeded all tactical projections. 6 divine vein experts neutralized with minimal energy expenditure. However, sensor analysis indicates that the remaining forces are recalibrating. They are no longer treating you as a curiosity. They are treating you as a threat. Kai's lips curled into a slight smile. Good. Fear is a better deterrent than kindness. What's the status on the camp? A new projection shimmered into view showing Camp Dawn. People were cautiously emerging from their shelters. But there was no celebration. They were staring up at the mountain, at the gate, their faces a mixture of awe, terror, and something new, something profound, reverence. The mortals have designated you the Sovereign, the steward reported. They are broadcasting warnings to other survivor enclaves, advising non-interference and observation. Leader Maya has been remarkably effective at maintaining order and perspective among them. A genuine, small smile touched Kai's face. She's smart. Smart enough to survive this. Keep monitoring them. If the situation escalates, I may need to intervene more directly in their protection. Master, a new development, the steward interjected, its tone shifting. One of the remaining 35 signatures is different. It is not waiting with the fleet. It is descending now. But its power signature is unlike the others. Kai's brow furrowed. He leaned forward. Define unlike. It registers at the Divine Territory Realm, the 11th Anchor, Minor Step 3. This is beyond your previously established combat ceiling of the 4th step. However, this being is not approaching with hostility. Its energy signature is inquisitive, curious. It wishes to speak, not fight. On the main view screen, a single point of light detached from the fleet. It wasn't a fiery streak of re-entry, but a gentle, graceful fall, like a leaf riding a cosmic wind. The being landed softly on the edge of the glassed plains, 100 meters from the gate of unfolding dawn. The figure was humanoid, elderly, with long silver hair and robes that seemed woven from moonlight itself. It carried no weapon. It radiated no threat. It simply stood there, waiting. Kai rose to his feet. A divine territory being that wants to talk. This is new. Steward, maintain full defensive protocols. I'm going to have a conversation. Kai emerged from the mountain, his steps calm and measured, as he walked out onto the scarred earth. He met the ancient figure halfway, 2 beings of impossible power, one young and forged in suffering, the other weathered by eternity. The elder bowed slightly, a clear gesture of respect. Sovereign of Terra, I am called the Rememberer. I have come not to fight, but to witness and to warn. Kai returned the bow, his guard firmly up. A warning from an enemy? The Rememberer offered a sad, knowing smile. I am no enemy. I am a historian. I have watched 50 galaxies rise and fall for longer than your world has existed. When your birth cry echoed across the void, I knew I must come. Not to claim you, but to understand you, and to tell you what you face. I face 35 divine vein experts who want me dead or enslaved, Kai stated, his voice flat. You face far more than that, the Rememberer corrected gently. The ones in orbit are the scouts, the opportunists, the hungry. But your birth cry was heard by others. Others who move slower, think deeper, and wield power that makes divine veins seem like children's sparks. The ones I speak of are of the divine territory realm's highest steps, and beyond. They are coming, Sovereign, not in days, in weeks, and they will not be so easily deterred. Kai absorbed this, his expression becoming an unreadable mask of stone. He stood silent for a long moment before finally speaking. Why tell me this? Why warn me? Because I have watched 50 galaxies burn in wars over beings like you. I am tired of watching, the Rememberer replied. I do not ask you to surrender or flee. I only ask you to prepare. And to remember, when the true powers arrive, that not all who come are enemies. Some are merely curious. With a final, respectful bow, the Rememberer dissolved into motes of starlight, ascending back towards the heavens, leaving Kai alone on the silent plains. In Camp Dawn, Maya and Lorenzo watched the entire exchange on a crude monitor, the visuals clear but the audio non-existent. They saw the bow. They saw Kai listen. They saw the being leave in peace. Maya's voice was a hushed whisper. That one? That one was different. It came in peace. It left in peace. What did it tell him? Lorenzo stared at the screen, at the solitary figure of Kai. Whatever it was, look at his face. He's not relieved. He's grim. Whatever that being said, it wasn't good news. Kai stood alone. The gate of unfolding dawn a silent sentinel behind him. The alien fleet a crown of hungry stars above. In his eyes, a new cold understanding had dawned. The battle he had just won was only the first skirmish. A much larger, more terrifying war was coming. A war that would decide the fate of not just Earth, but perhaps the galaxy itself. The Rememberer has spoken. What is coming that terrifies even a divine territory being? Theorize in the comments. 35 divine veins still remain in orbit. Will they attack or retreat? Vote. Attack or retreat. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. The true war begins in episode 10.